And we're live. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming to today's session. Just give me a minute to share the link. You need to work. Is it not working? It's working. It should be working. Okay. Just kindly give me a minute to share. Minute to share the link. Okay. So that's crazy. What's it coming up? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, welcome. Kindly give me a minute to share the link, and you can as well help me in sharing the link, and we'll get cracking. Oh no. Okay. Copy. Hmm. Sorry. I will be out of your way soon. Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my life talk today. And I'll be taking you on a topic which I've titled Men, Myth, and HPV Breaking the Silence. Men, Myth, HPV Breaking the Silence. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming. Please don't forget to share, don't forget to follow, don't forget to like. And I have a surprise for you at the end of this at the end of this discussion. So, officially, I would like to say good evening, everybody. Welcome to a powerful edition of Rural Voices Global Impact for Rural Innovation Foundation, GIRIF. And I am your host. I am a health educator and I'm a rural health advocate. And also, I am the founder of Global Impact for Rural Innovation Foundation, GIRIF. And tonight, we are diving into a conversation that, that is long overdue, HPV and the silence surrounding men. So I've titled today's conversation to be HPV and the silence surrounding um, men. So, if you've got any question, just leave it in the comment section, and then at the end, I'm going to take your questions. So, we realize that too often, HPV has been framed or has been known to be women's issue. But men carry it, they spread it and suffer from it too. That is the thing. Silence is not protection. Today, we intend to break that silence because health equity begins with the truth. We need to let our men know that HPV has been framed as a woman's issue, but also men carry it. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for coming. Men carry it as well. So, what is HPV? HPV, HPV, HPV. What really then is HPV? You know, HPV is an acronym for the human papilloma virus and is a group of over 10 related viruses. So, it spreads primarily through skin to skin contact during sexual activities, including vagina, anal, and also oral sex. Now, some types go ahead to cause, genital warts, others are high risk and can lead to cancer. So, where we have the cervical, the penile, and then the anal and the throat cancer. And also, it's important to note that most infections are often, asymptomatic and they tend to clear on their own. But what if in a situation where some of them are not asymptomatic and they don't clear on their own? What do you do about that? So, this is what I'm going to teach you today, or this is the process I'm going to go through with you today. Please bear with me 1 minute. We need more people on board to come learn this thing. Thank you all for coming. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, that should do it. So, like I was saying, HPV is known as the human papilloma virus, and it spreads primarily through, skin to skin contact and during sexual activities. Hello, welcome for me. During sexual activities, including vagina, anal, and oral sex. And, some types causes genital warts, others are high risk and can lead to cancer. Now, most of these infections are actually asymptomatic and they tend to clear. So when I mean asymptomatic, they tend to clear on their own. But when there is a persistent infection, then that becomes a cause to worry. So I said that HPV is not gender specific. Some people can say, okay, HPV, human papilloma virus, is the female thing. But let me explain it to you. The human papilloma virus affects all genders, and men carry and transmit this human papilloma virus without symptoms. Now, they are vulnerable to HPV related cancers, especially if they are not vaccinated and they are unaware. Now, the thing is, the virus doesn't discriminate, and neither should our health education discriminate and focus just on the female or the female gender. It should be inclusive. It should include everybody into this process, this teaching. Now, the World Health Organization came up with the statistics in 2022 where they said that over 80% of sexually active people will contract the human papilloma virus at some point in their life. So over 80% of sexually active people. Now imagine how many people that are sexually active. So over 80% of those sexually active people would actually contract the human papilloma virus at some point in their life. I think, wow, that's a bit scary, but let's see. Let me break it down for you. Now, HPV does not care if there is nothing you take home today. I want you to know that HPV does not care about your gender, it does not care about your village or your silence. It's real, it's common, and is preventable. HPV doesn't care about your gender, it doesn't care about your village, it doesn't care about your silence. It is real, it is common, and it is preventable. So let's talk about the male vulnerability. Let's talk about the HPV linked cancers in men. So we've got the oropharyngeal cancer, and 70% of those cases in men are caused by HPV. So you see why I said too often that people say, oh, HPV is a woman problem. No, if 70% of oropharyngeal cancer is caused by HPV, just imagine. And then you have the penile cancer, and it's actually rare, but studies have shown that it's strongly related to a high risk HPV strain. So imagine you are having your muchi muchi with somebody that is positive for the virus, and you do not know that the person is positive for the virus because they show for face, they show down there, and then the person is positive for the virus. You have no idea, you do not have the slightest idea that this person is positive for the human papilloma virus, not HPV, not hepatitis B, but the person is positive for the human papilloma virus. So, and then you go down there and you're trying to make oral sex, love making, and everything. And at the end of the day, you're contracting something. The person has not been tested, the person has not been vaccinated, so you have no idea what is going on down there. And then thirdly, anal cancer particularly is prevalent. This one is actually prevalent among men who have sex with men, and also immunocompromised individuals. Then let's talk about throat cancer. Now there's a rising sharp among men over 40, often due to the oral transmission of HPV. So let me try to create a picture in your mind. So you're with your babe and you're going down there and you're giving her oral sex, and the babe is positive for the virus. So imagine all the, for a lack of a better word, let me borrow my one of my baby's words. Imagine all the yama yama you've put inside your throat because you're having sexual pleasure and the person is not protected and the person is not vaccinated. So let me give you a story. Let me tell you about Michael. He's a 42-year-old farmer from Kenya. He's never heard of, human papilloma virus until he was diagnosed with throat cancer. Now, no one has ever told him that this virus could affect men. Now, Kwame's story is actually not unique. It's a wake-up call, because when you engage people in a conversation, it's okay, engage people in a conversation. If you're trying to date someone or if you're trying to get married to the person, ask the person, have you heard of HPV? Not HIV, not hepatitis B, not breast cancer. Have you heard of HPV, the human papilloma virus? Just ask them, throw that out in the open. Ask them, have you heard of HPV? Before you decide to go into any of your bedroom rambling and whatever you want to go through, and exchange of fluids, exchange of semen, exchange of um pussy juice or whatever it is, you need to make sure you ask the person. It's actually a genuine question, because some of us don't, is when you do a statistics or a survey, you realize that some of us don't even know that there's something called the human papilloma virus. We have no knowledge of what the human papilloma virus is. So I would encourage us to make this a community call. Make this like, you could be chatting with your friends, your girlfriends, your female friends, your wives. Ask them, babe, have you heard of HPV? Babe, have you had the HPV vaccination? Babe, have you gone for your pap smear screening just to be sure you're negative for the virus? It could go a long way. It could actually help. So it is not just a woman's issue, is actually everybody's issue, both the male and the female gender and any other gender inclusive. So let's talk about the gender stigma and cultural silence. Please, if you've got a question, just drop it in the comment section and I would answer at the end of the day. And don't forget, I said I've got a surprise for you, so stay tuned. So let's talk about the cultural norms and silence, okay? Now, in many communities, in many states, in many rural areas, sexual health is seen as a female concern. So nobody cares. Oh, sexual health, oh, it's for the females. Oh, sexual health is for the females. In most cases, it's not like, I don't see it as um something the men should feel proud and bold about. No, you're actually excluded from a very important conversation, and it should not be so. So we should try to change the narrative and try to get everybody involved. Now, in many countries, sexual health is seen as a female concern, like I said before. Now, men are actually excluded from conversation, screening, and vaccine campaigns. And in some situations, the men don't even want to go. They just feel, oh, women, children, you guys could go. We will stay. We are strong. We are the men. We know you need to live healthy. You need to live longer. And you need to take care of yourself. For once, be selfish with your own life. Now, once men are excluded from conversations, screening, and vaccine campaigns, even during childbirth, with a high raise increase in maternal mortality, men are being excluded. If we practice inclusivity, if we say, okay, your wife is going for this screening, go with her, encourage it. Don't see it like, oh, if you go, people are going. No. Now, what I want you to know, or the take home, is this silence, it breeds ignorance, and ignorance breeds vulnerability. Now, the silence within the HPV related cases, or when it's not being talked about, it actually breeds ignorance, and ignorance breeds vulnerability. So if you don't know something, let's say if you don't know your partner has hepatitis B, and then you go and do all those things and you are not vaccinated against the virus, ugh, to each his own. There's nothing I could say. So A study by Mawaka and his colleagues in 2021, they found out that rural Uganda men were largely unaware of HPV risk and vaccines available. Now, let's bring this study to different rural communities, not even the rural communities, the urban and the suburban communities. They have no idea what HPV is, and it will shock you. Say some women don't even know what HPV is. Some people have not even heard of what HPV is. Now, what is the cause of this stigma, if I may ask? Low vaccine uptake among boys and men, poor screening behavior, number two. Number three, delayed diagnosis and treatment. Now, men in the audience, men that are listening to me, that are coming in and going, I'm asking you, have you ever had a conversation about HPV with your partner, your doctor, or your peers? Have you, just have that conversation about HPV with your sisters, your aunties, your nieces, your cousins? Have you had that conversation of HPV with your partner, your doctor, your peers, your colleagues at work, your friends? When you go to drink, you party and everything. Have you sat down to say, baby girl, Alpha, this already take the shisha like this? Have you had your HPV vaccine? Have you been screened for the virus? These are conversations we should put into consideration. And I think if you truly love somebody or care about somebody, it doesn't have to be a relationship or something about your family. You should ask them, have you had a conversation? Have you have a conversation with them about the HPV? Have that conversation. Or the very important, it is very, very important you have that conversation. Now, why am I practicing? Why am I trying to advocate for gender inclusivity campaign? Now, HPV education should include boys, it should include fathers, and it should include the male youth as well. It is very important because society tends to focus on the women, the girl child, the girl child. We should also include the male youths as well because they have an upper hand. So, let's say A has a girlfriend. The girlfriend has the HPV. She doesn't know she has the HPV. Now, A has three other girlfriends too. Maybe two out of the three other girlfriends are negative for the virus. Now, A will go and sleep with girlfriend B. Girlfriend B, after all the muchi muchi and everything, girlfriend B, A will carry it from girlfriend B. He will go to girlfriend C. He will go to girlfriend D. He now become distributor. Now imagine that girlfriend B is not faithful to girlfriend A, just the way girlfriend A and boyfriend A is not faithful to girlfriend B. Now girlfriend B will carry it to boyfriend E, F, G, H. Are you seeing it? It grow. So girlfriend B will carry that. She has got it from boyfriend A, and that boyfriend A got from boyfriend C. Now, girlfriend B will now carry it to GHI of her partners. Now, GHI of her partners, one of them might not be faithful to only girlfriend B. Now, H will carry it to JKL, and then it to start spreading around, spreading around, spreading around. The ones that are asymptomatic would go fast and then would disappear. Then the ones that are not would just stay there. So it's actually crazy. So I think health. No, not really. They won't go through the pap smear screening, but they could advise their partners to, go for the screening and know if they're negative or positive. If they're negative, then they could actually get for the adults, you need to pay for the vaccine, but the vaccines from 9 to 15, I know Nigeria is on a rollout and Ghana is about to do a rollout for the vaccine. Then you could get your nieces within those age or your cousins, to get vaccinated. So, silence is not tradition at all. It's actually a public health risk. And as a public health advocate, I'm going to tell you that silence is not tradition. We should include all genders. Silence is not tradition, it's a public health risk. Yeah. So there's some individuals maybe, yeah, that's true regarding the vaccine and its availability, but may not be able to afford it. Yeah, the vaccine is actually quite expensive. It is expensive, which is true. You have to do the test and then you do the vaccine, which is expensive. And at the end of this live, I'm going to put up a link. I am officially starting my advocacy campaign today to every country, to every region, especially in the sub-Sahara Africa, that we should get either a subsidized amount for the vaccine or free vaccine for people living within the rural community, and a subsidized amount for people living within the suburban and the urban community, so that people will be able to afford the vaccination. So I'm going to drop the link. Please feel free to input your pictures on the flyer and distribute it, and let's get this advocacy, running. So there are some few success stories. Now, in Rwanda, there's a school based HPV vaccine program that now includes boys in Rwanda. And also in Botswana, I'm proud because these are all African countries. I'm proud. Thank you, Juliet, for the support. Thank you, Ali. I'm proud that in Botswana, community outreach is integrating male education and vaccine access. So I would again urge you to please join this my advocacy campaign, because by the grace of God, is going to be the bomb and you do not want to miss out. Let us advocate for free HPV vaccines within the rural community and subsidized rates for people living in the urban and the suburban community, so we prevent the girl child from dying unnecessarily from cervical cancer when it can be prevented. So, as a public health and rural health advocate, I've seen, how firsthand, exclusion leads to suffering, why we must build bridges, not barriers in our health messaging. And also, so my aim is to build bridges. I don't want to build barriers. My aim is to advocate that whether you're a man or you're a woman or you're a yam or you're a goat or whatever you decide to call yourself, to each his own, you should not be excluded. And we must build bridges, not barriers, in our health messaging. Men deserves knowledge. The men deserve knowledge, sorry. They deserve protection and they deserve dignity. So if you're a man and you're faithful to one partner, or if you're a man, you're married to one partner, how sure are you? How sure are you that that person is faithful to you? So HPV spreads like wildfire. So Eva says some individuals may be informed about the vaccine and its availability, but they may not be able to afford it here. It's quite expensive. That is so true, because I've had some people say, oh, Prissy, I went to the hospital, but man, the vaccine, and I have to take 2 and I have to take 3, depending on the type of vaccine available. It is quite expensive. So please join my advocacy campaign and let's push this to the World Health Organization, push this to the United Nations, push this to the national sector. At least we will get a response that, okay, if the vaccine today is 15,000 naira, what if you subsidize it to 7.5 or 6.5 and then give it to people within the rural communities for free? Let's see how it goes. So please, I'm going to be sharing the link. Please input your picture and let's make this thing go viral. So as I was saying, HPV does not discriminate, and neither should our health messages. Men must be part of the message. Men must be part of the solution, not silent bystanders. Men must be part of the solution. You are not going to be standing by like a gamma lizard. No, you must be part of the solution. So I want you to drop your questions in the comments. There's no shame, there's no judgment. We are here to learn. So this, I don't know if some of us know this song. Even your boo gets a boo, they boo, they boo. So imagine that you're negative for HPV. And then, okay, let's say Juliet is negative for HPV. Eva is negative for HPV. Then What's her name? Tina is positive for HPV. Now, Ali is dating Juliet, Tina, Eva. The three together, they do not know they don't know that they are dating the three of them at the same time. Ali is just dating. They know that all they know is I'm dating only Ali, or I'm married to only Ali, as the case may be. Now, Ali goes to Eva, has sexual intercourse with Eva. He goes to Juliet, he has carnal knowledge of Juliet. Then he goes to Tina, that is positive for the virus, has carnal knowledge of Tina. Okay, let's say in Tina's situation, they engaged in oral sex, anal sex, or whatever pleasure that makes them happy is up to them. They engage in that. Now, after Ali has finished satisfying Tina and everything, and then he comes back to Eva with all the yama yama in his body, he will now come back to Eva. So let's say Tina has had the HPV, because over 80% of sexually active people will definitely have HPV once in their lifetime, according to WHO in a study, in a statistics in 2022. So let's say Tina's HPV is still there, doing dancing and willow, dancing and willow, dancing and willow around the walls of her service. They are dancing and willow, blah blah blah. They are there playing. Then Ali will now carry that the same mouse and the same private and come and put inside Eva. And then he will go back again to Juliet. Okay. Then eventually they all break up with Ali. Now Juliet will go and date someone else. Eva will go and date someone else. Tina will go and date someone else. Now, them not knowing, depending on the level of their immune system, them not knowing that, okay, I've been doing all this away match with all these babes. So they don't know. HPV, you're not seeing anything. Then they go to date different people. You see the way the thing is spreading like wildfire. They go to date different people. They date A, they date B, they date C, they date D. And then it starts spreading. So if we're able to get tested, like in the UK, I think they do, if you go today and you're negative for the virus, they'll book you 3 years in advance for you to check again for the same virus. So if you're positive, they will do it 6 months and try to see what they could do to help you. So that's a system we should follow, not the one that will just leave them when they're at the end stage of cervical cancer, then we'll start soliciting for fun. Prevention is actually better than care, than cure, sorry. So should HPV vaccine be offered to boys in school? Should HPV vaccine be offered to boys in school? Number one. Number two, have you ever received an HPV? Have you ever done an HPV test or received the vaccine? Number three, why don't you join me to advocate for free or subsidized HPV testing and vaccine? So there's a take-home assignment I'm going to give you this week. Till we'll meet again next week, same time, 6 p.m. Start a conversation in your homes, in your workplace, in the bar, where you're going to see a movie, where you're going to watch, in your communities. You know those small social gatherings you do, and you talk about politics, how you want this person to be in the political sector, how you want this person, and you're making kings and queens and everything. Chip it in that conversation. Let the local heads, let the chiefs, let them know. If you have something, tell them that, okay, start a conversation about HPV, start a conversation about the testing, start a conversation about the vaccine, and most importantly, start a conversation about the sorry about the virus. Okay, 1 minute, and I'm going to share this on our live so we could actually have the flyer up and running. Uh, okay, so we could use the link for the flyer. We could do our own. I've dropped it in the comment section. We could do our link for the flyer and then input our name, put it on our social media post, we'll make it go viral and everything. So start a conversation in your homes about the virus. Start a conversation in your home about HPV. Start a conversation. Start a conversation. I need you to start that conversation. I do not want you to be looking like what I do not know. I need you to start that conversation about HPV in your homes, in your family. Please start a conversation. Start a conversation. Let people know that, okay, Prissy has talked about HPV. I've dropped it in the comment section, and I'm also going to post it on YouTube as well, so we could have so we could see what is actually going on in today's world. 1 minute, please. Okay. Okay. Please, if you're watching from YouTube, you could use the link to um actually access your own flyer and join us in this advocacy campaign. Thank you. I've posted the link and I'm going to share it on my social media handle as well. So there's a take home I want you to go home with today. I want you to realize, I note that HPV is not just a virus. Please drag your ear. In fact, your 2 ears, drag them like this. HPV is, I look like my sister, Sha. HPV is not just a virus, it is a mirror reflecting our silence, our stigma, and our missed opportunities. So let's begin to change the narrative. Okay, so Eva said in our society where, yeah, that's true, I think our men should be at the pinnacle of this pyramid. They play a massive role in responsiveness to this vaccination. I totally agree with you. That is why I'm advocating for men should be at the forefront. I totally agree with you, my darling. It is so true. It's so, even in cases of where we'll come to maternal mortality, men should be at the forefront. They should be there. They should play a massive role in responsiveness, and that is so true. Thank you so much. And I want you to know that HPV is not just a virus, it is a mirror reflecting our silence, our stigma, and our missed opportunities. So come together, let's change the narrative. Let's protect everyone and let's build HPV free futures. Can you imagine a world where, oh no, not a word. Can you imagine a rural community or country in Nigeria or a country in Ghana where every woman, every girl, every is being vaccinated against the virus? To be an amazing place to live. So thank you so much. And I'm going to see you next week, same time, 6 p.m. I will be talking about how artificial intelligence is actually, how we could put artificial intelligence in building HPV free futures, and how artificial intelligence could also help us and drive this advocacy and drive this program, how we could use interactive AI tools to answer questions, to get people on board, to break some, you know, cultural things that have been going on, how we could use algorithms to identify rural populations that actually need this vaccine, that actually need this help, like rural men who are, at the higher risk of HPV related diseases, but are actually missed by, traditional campaigns and everything. And also, we'll be talking about how we could include everybody in their local languages, breaking through stigma and silence. So don't miss next week, because we are here to preach HPV free futures. We're here to preach rural advocacy. And I want you to know that HPV does not discriminate, neither should our tools. So we are going to harness AI tools to build HPV free futures for everyone. And I've got a surprise for you next week. So do not miss it. And have a lovely evening. I love you. Bye bye.